Hello there. The United States of America is known for a lot of things. One of them is going to war with people, like a lot. I believe we were in, I need to count, we were in so many. In the 20th century alone, I believe we were in at least 5 major wars. And we're at war again. Well, at least we're at war, but they're not calling it one. Because if they call it a war, they have to get permission from Congress and all that, and they don't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. But I'll get to that later. In a nutshell, Trump is mad at Iran, and now our military and Israel's military are both raining down missiles on Iran. We have the most powerful military in the world, so at the rate we're firing missiles on them, we've probably wiped multiple of their towns off the map at this point. And that's not to say Iran has a weak military. They're the 16th best in the world, but our number is straight as a ruler. So they're kind of cooked. So there are a few things about this that make me mad. Because I do not like Trump at all. And I tried as hard as I possibly can to find find a reason to be opposed to this. I honestly cannot. There are a few things I don't like about it. Number one, Donald Trump, when he was running for president, promised that he would not start any wars. In fact, he would end wars. He actually claims, and I don't really believe this to be true, I don't even believe this to be remotely true, that he has ended, in just his first year of presidency, 8 wars. He has not ended 8 wars. I guarantee you he has not. I know he has not ended 8 wars. I don't even think he's ended a war. But that's beside the point. Me not liking Donald Trump has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Well, actually, it kind of does, but it doesn't have as much as I'm making it out to be. So that's a broken promise right there. He said he wasn't going to start any wars. He started the war. And I guess he broke that promise a while ago because he already started the war with Venezuela, but that's not what this video is about. Well, technically, that's not an ongoing conflict. I don't even think you call that a war. We went in, we grabbed their president, and we left. We attacked them once, and the people celebrated. That, again, beside the point. The other thing that makes me angry is the government refuses to call it a war because they don't want it to have to go through Congress so they can get permission. And they also don't want a formal declaration of war. And if they do get permission from Congress, which they honestly probably won't, there would have to be a formal declaration of war. And when there's a formal declaration of war, they know you're coming. Although, since we already attacked them, they already know we're coming. But if we did that before we attacked, they would have known we were coming. And you don't really want them to know you're coming. Now, obviously, it gets to a point where you attack them once and they know you're coming back. But obviously they didn't declare war initially because then they would have known, well, they're going to attack us eventually, which would lead them to either make things really hard for us or attack us first, which neither one of those are things that we want. Although I'm pretty sure, according to the Geneva Convention, you have to have a formal declaration of war. And there's at least something somewhere that says you have to have a formal declaration of war. Although, there have also been people saying that if there's a formal declaration of war, there is no war. If there is no formal declaration of war, there is no war, is what I've seen a lot of people say over the years. The problem with that is the Korean War and the Vietnam War are almost definitely wars. If someone looked at me and said that those are not wars, I'd be really concerned for their mental health. And neither one of those had a formal declaration of war involved. Again, we can all agree that those are worse. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 99% sure that Hitler did not declare war on any of the countries he invaded at the start of World War II. So, the formal declaration of war at this point really doesn't mean crap. People just kind of, when they don't like people, when people don't like other people, they kind of just walk up to them and go, "Hey, bucko, it's time to go. You had a good run." And they blow their brains out. That's just kind of how it works now. So that's what makes me angry, is that they're refusing to call it a war. They're saying it's an armed conflict, which in my mind, since, again, the formal declaration of war really doesn't mean much at this point. That's the definition of a war in my mind, is an armed conflict. They're saying it's an armed conflict. Another thing I've been seeing a lot is it's a strategic military operation. But like we all know, it's a war. Even Google calls it a war. If you look things up about it, Google is now referring. I said referring. Oh my god. Google is referring to it as the Iran War, which is probably what it would have just been called anyway, because I guess since World War II, wars are just called the war in country where it takes place, or the country that takes place war. Because I guess that's just how things roll now. Yes. We can't have creative names for wars anymore. However, I'm not really opposed to us attacking Iran either. Here's why. For one thing, now this doesn't make me too mad, because I'm pretty sure it's bullcrap. But I did watch the State of the Union address, and 90% of the stuff, I won't say 90%, but a lot of the stuff, I probably should have kept a tally, because so many things that came out of Trump's mouth that night were absolute bullcrap. But he did say at one point that Iran had like some sort of agreement with us where they weren't supposed to have nuclear weapons, and they did. Now, since Trump lies so much, I don't really believe that, but what I do believe is when he said that when they were building nuclear weapons, the Biden administration just went, "No," and didn't do anything about it. That's a very Biden thing to do, just waggle your finger at someone and go, "No," whenever they do something that you don't like, and not ever do something about it, even though you have the most powerful military in the world, and you're the commander-in-chief of said military. It's a very Biden thing to do, just let people do things that you don't like without not even saying anything about it half the time. But I'm not really sure I believe that they had an agreement with us that they weren't supposed to have those weapons. I don't doubt it, but I'm not sure I believe that, judging by the fact it came out of Trump's mouth. But what is true that makes me mad, that someone had to do something about eventually, and I honestly think it's ridiculous that Donald Trump, of all people, should be the one finally doing something about this, is that for simply protesting their regime that they have in power, because yes, at this point it is a regime, the Iranian government kills, on average, 500 to 800 of its own citizens. In 2024 alone, they killed over 900 of their own civilians. You cannot convince me that this is a bad thing just because Donald Trump is doing it, when the country we are bombing murders nearly 1,000 of their own citizens every year. You cannot convince me that that is a bad thing. I honestly don't understand, because they're not the only country that... Why does my camera keep tilting? Oh, I almost dropped it down a gap between the wall and the shelf. I cannot get my camera to stand. I hate this new setup. I want my table back. I'm gonna try and push this shelf further into the wall. I swear it was further up against the wall last time I recorded in here. Are you freaking kidding me? I can't get this to go up straight anymore. Like it was before. Stay. Stay. Okay. It's fine. But I don't understand why people are so mad. I mean, I get that Trump lied about not starting any wars, and I get that they're not even calling it a war. They're straight up lying about, oh, it's not a war. It's not a war. Like, it obviously is a war. But at the same time, you cannot complain about the fact that we attacked a country that murders thousands of their own civilians. Yes, I know I just said hundreds every year. Do math. That means every decade, how many civilians are they murdering? Like, I believe that adds up to, again, thousands. If you add that up, they've murdered thousands of their people. That's math, people. I know there are people who are gonna get mad at me for making this video, saying I'm wrong just because Trump is an idiot. And I agree, Trump is an idiot, and he does idiot things. This was not really an idiot thing, and you know what? Someone had to take out Iran eventually, and it was probably gonna be us anyway. And if they were going to be a problem, he shouldn't have said that he wasn't going to start any wars. But that's Trump for you. Sometimes you just got to put up with it. He's going to say things that he's not going to go through with, and he's going to say he's not going to do things that he's going to go through with. That's just how Trump works. As long as it's nothing too egregious, just put up with it. And I've, again, noticed here in his second term that it's usually pretty egregious stuff. But in his first term, he wasn't actually horrible. I mean, I didn't observe much of his first term because I was not even 10 years old. But what I did observe, he wasn't that bad. He was still stupid. But he's Trump. So, of course, he's stupid. But, again, beside the point. I know there's going to be people saying that this is a bad thing just because Trump did it. But remember, the country we're fighting murders hundreds, 500 to 800 of their own people every year. They murdered over 900 in 2024 alone. Remember that this country is killing its own civilians simply for protesting. We are doing the right thing. I don't care if Donald Trump is an idiot. We are doing the right thing. Just kind of makes me mad that I have to kind of makes me mad that Donald Trump, I don't know, Donald Trump did something and I'm not upset about it. That kind of makes me feel weird. Kind of makes me feel like a bad person. But again, just because he's an idiot doesn't mean everything that he does is bad. Yeah, he broke his promise, but eventually we were going to have to go into Iran. We might as well now. I have a problem with the fact that he broke his promise, but at the same time, we're not seriously going to let hundreds and hundreds more of Iranian civilians die because they don't like the fact that they're being ruled by a regime, are we? I mean, we're America, for crying out loud. We ended World War I in a year. Like, it literally took us a year after we joined World War I to end it. Like, this is the same country. Iran doesn't stand a chance anyway. So before I end the video, I just want to, really quick, give my respects to all the soldiers fighting in this war. It takes a lot of courage to walk out, pick up a gun, and decide I'm willing to lay my life down for my country and actually go and do it. So, again, lots of respect for those guys and girls. I know it's mostly guys, but there are girls in the military too. So, lots of respect for all of them. That's about it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one, which I'm probably going to record very shortly. Goodbye.